I think that TFECT are going to try to lean for it, but I expect Space Station with the second pick to just abandon it away.
Yeah, I mean, the Amusement Cobb, because, I don't know, there are a lot of issues that TFECT brought there. Like I said, you're not going to abandon Chalk, right? But the pressure that Chalk brought with Sinoshore's selection of the Ratatasker, that allowed Ratatasker brings safe invades by multiple, the stun and the knockup by way of the ultimate. You're safe and sound there, and the Chalk's going to provide a lot of secure just by having a lot of burst damage there. And then once you get to the mid game, like you were talking about the Aphrodite, what was the issue? Space Station thinks it was the Amusement Cobb, but I think there was too many layers there.
It was just the pressure that TFECT applied onto Space Station. It was just the lane control that they had. Amusement Cobb just able to out-rotate, do what he can. We saw Zatman actually made this early rotation in the mid lane at level 1, and it was actually Jigs against Snoopy in the dual lane. So Snoopy absorbing a lot of solo lane farm in the dual lane, rather, and he was able to also get his red buff, get his purple buff without assistance, and that's also what allowed him to get that level lead over Zap initially.
Well, TFECT bringing the RDO one more time. Space Station didn't think she was an issue. And, you know, it's interesting. This is one of the few games that we saw RTO actually have a positive impact. And it wasn't incredibly oppressive. It was about what you would expect from a regular good Guardian.
I mean, it just completely disrupted any sort of combination that Jigs wanted to do on the Terra. You're relying on the dash through the Monolith, the dash through your crushing wall, but because of that cripple field, even if you're dashing in the middle of your dash, will get disrupted as soon as you step in that zone.
And it's one of the. But my point is that RDO was strong here, but you could have picked Ares with the cripple as well, and kind of had the same effect. Although RDO is more defensive, and that's why you go RDO. Not a lot of cripples in the game, so when they're at a priority, excuse me, RDO is going to be a good selection. But Space Station Gaming think they can still beat her out this time, going Ganesh, who does have a dash, but he's not as reliant on that dash. More looking, and silence destroys RDO.
Yep.
So that's why I love this pick for Space Station.
Absolutely. It's good control. You're not going to be able to dash away from the cripple field once it's done, but you're going to disrupt the combination from RDO. And I like the fact that TFECT now are going for the Nausea this time around.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people up there. The mobility here from TFECT with the Giannis also. Space Station switching things up, respecting the Aphrodite, but allowing the Giannis through.
Very, very scary if I'm Space Station Gaming, because again, I look across the way at TFECT and I go, all right, Snoopy, you have Ho Yi. Frankly, I don't care what Snoopy plays. He's still going to beat me up. Then RDO, Chalk, Naja, Giannis. Outside of Chalk for Kiki, who, sure, whatever, Kiki will play literally anything. These characters are what TFECT want to play. I mean, Sinosure made a name for himself on console playing Naja, and then came over to the PC world and still played Naja. And then you look at Herwin on the Giannis. You want to talk about a guy with different play styles and the ability to do a whole lot of different things. Well, Giannis is the character for this guy. And a long time ago, I think it was Herwin's Giannis that really put him on the map for me personally. This is the character that he first made his ascension to being a very, very strong top-tier mid laner, as opposed to just another multi-lane sub. And I think it was the Giannis that impressed me the most at first. And here he is one more time.
Back in Season 3 when he was with Soar Gaming, the playstyle of that team was just so aggressive. So by Herwin playing the Giannis, it just basically amplified the aggression from the rest of his teammates, but he was able to also switch things up if Soar ever did get behind. Herwin here, paired up with a Roar, is going to try to out DPS Anister and Jigs' Ganesh.
Yeah, just walks right past Jigs and goes directly to the wave alongside a Roar. Now Herwin trying to finish things off very quickly. As the basics are being traded, there's an invade on the left-hand side. The Hunters dealing with each other. Zapman making the ego play.
Typical Zatman style. He did this actually a week ago against Barracuda's Ho Yi, so he's trying to abuse that yet again, really getting Snoopy out of position, delaying him farming up those back camps. Not sure who got the experience there, because it looks like Zatman's really behind.
Yeah. And that's sort of the downside. Oh no, Zatman's ahead of his enemy Hunter.
Because of the lane. Snoopy hasn't gone back to lane quite yet. So this experience per minute chart is going to fluctuate. But now Snoopy, he's going to get to lane. They're tied almost in experience. But once he gets all these minions, he's going to be heavily ahead. That's 6 archers.
So what we didn't catch on the camera as we were watching the middle lane fight, what Zatman likes to do with the Jingwei is he goes into the enemy back He goes into the enemy back camps and then surprises the hunter with the knockup, hoping to knock the hunter and get at least the 2 little guys. If he gets both, then he's able to confirm the big guy. Obviously, that didn't happen. If that does happen, it gives him a gigantic lead when he plays his character, and it's a very Zapman strategy, and I say that for multiple reasons. 1, it's hyper aggressive. 2, it's 1 versus 1, and 3, honestly, it's unique and intelligent. I think that's the side of Steve that people don't really get to see that often. Kiki in trouble,
oh, no.
But the save from Sinosure.
And Homie Efe missing out that 1 in-hand. I'm not sure if it was going to be enough damage to find the kill there.
I think he needed 2, but it was
Kiki
close.
Kiki has to back now. It's going to allow Scary D a lot more control potentially.
But Sinosure, big play right there. Kiki will stay in. He is a chalk. He gets a free heal with 5 basics. It's going to be scary.
Are you going to get in position to use those 5 basics? He's already sitting at half health. No more health potions. No more ticks in that chalice either. Zapman, though, doing a good job at least zoning out Snoopy. The experience per minute is in favor of Zapman by denying this whole wave. Zapman
has not been a top-tier hunter. And this is his, he's trying to get it back, totally. He really is trying to get it back. And ouch, big crits coming out.
Wow.
And the ring toss even bigger. Sinosure here, trying to make the plays.
One axe. Kiki, you got to hit this axe, Kiki.
Oh, he misses the axe. He can't miss that axe. And Homie doesn't miss the hammer. But the ultimate from Herwind just off the mark. The axe misses, the hammer doesn't. First blood to Space Station Gaming. Hot damn.
Good plays all around, all across the board. That just goes to show you that even though you might be behind in experience, gold, whatever the case, you still got to outplay your opponent.
Yeah.
Hit those abilities.
That's the thing. I mean, you ask some of the best players in the world how to play, and the answer is don't get hit. How do you win this matchup? Don't get hit.
Easier said than done. Even on the SPL level, there's a lot of mind games that go around in terms of juking and everything.
And that's it's a lot of fun. That's why a lot of talking to solo laners. That's why solo laners like their position so much. Was that the case for you? It's very low to the ground. It's very just, hey, it's me versus you.
Yeah,
you got to outplay me in mind and body.
The biggest juking matchup that I've ever faced
come on,
Sino. It was actually, he misses that. As we're talking about abilities missing.
He's plugging his controller.
Chang'e against Hebo was the matchup, like Season 0, Preseason 0, like before SPL was ever a thing. And it was just like me playing Chang'e against Omega's Hebo, trying to juke out his water spout, either by like moving up and backwards or actually using my second ability, right? Like it was just a little bit of a dance, like an actual dance. And once that water spout was down, then I can go do my thing.
Yeah, that's kind of, where even I think the solo lane has simplified a little bit in the world of, just tanky warriors and the occasional guardian in that sense, as you just kind of brawl it out. But it's still, that meticulous game of inches, and that's why that position is so interesting.
Still looking for a little bit of aggression in Space Station here. There's 3 people right here in the mid lane. Homie Efe has enough range on that Tectonic Rift to keep Herwind in check, which is why he's not only so far back, but he's hugging that left side wall, not allowing Homie Efe to throw his wall through the wall.
Right here, another back coming out from Kiki. Space Station Gaming able to confirm their own buffs. No big deal here. Again, no invades on the second swing of buffs. Last time we saw TFECT invade the next round. So keep an eye on the clock. And around 6 or 7 minutes, you want to see if they're actually going to go for it.
It's all about the power spikes plays also, whether or not boots are completed, tier 2 or tier 3 of certain items are starting to be developed here. Interestingly enough, Sinosure going for a different style than Warrior Tabai.
Yeah, Sinosure actually going to go for the speed boots. We see this from time to time. Najah does well with the ring bounds to get the actual proc, but the idea, I think, is really just the speed. You're able to get around the map incredibly fast with the out-of-combat speed, and it's what allows the jungler to be truly omnipresent and just completely everywhere he needs to be at all points in time.
And not only that, if for whatever reason Sinosure does escape from combat, the HP 5, once he is out of combat, is going to be a big determining factor of whether or not Sinosure needs to go back to base or stay a little bit longer to throw that extra ring bounce or 2.
Snoopy stuck under the tower, still being able to farm, but 500 gold down. to enemy Zapman. Now, sure, that's the Jing Wei effect, but Zap also keeping Snoopy under the tower. It's worth talking about.
It's just that one little play there around those back left camps. Sure, the experience per minute did favor Snoopy at one point because he got all those 6 archers, but after the fact, because of the damage Zapman applied to Snoopy, he had no health potions to be able to stay in the lane as long as Zapman. So he was able to just get bullied out. Zapman started to freeze the lane multiple times over and over again. This is where the 2-level discrepancy is coming from.
And Zap's just looking to fight. He doesn't really care about Mark of the Golden Crow. He's going to dance around it and just be ready to look for the 1v1. About a level and a half separate our 2 hunters. Silent Shore getting aggressive on the right side, and Aurora getting aggressed on the same side, but players go in opposite directions. So 7:20 on the clock here. Space Station on Trifecta, jockeying for position in NA standings here. Trifecta able to take game number 1.
That's right, which puts them at 11 points, now tied with Space Station at 11 points. Homie FA stunning Snoopy, doing a lot of damage, but securing the own red. Herwin takes the portal instead of Snoopy.
And there's the ultimate to help Snoopy out. Herwin goes through portal 1 and just goes, I'm just kidding, man, I got you. Tosses the ult out.
I wonder what Snoopy said in comms after Herwin takes his own portal.
Bro,
help. Send help.
3 players strong, 4 players strong if you count Scary D in the solo lane.
Now, to be fair, Snoopy does have that dive bomb to be able to probably get through into that tier 2 tower anyway.
He's going to drop the Suns.
Forcing out. I thought the agility was down from Zapman. That's why Snoopy did that play, but apparently maybe miscalculating the cooldown or maybe just wanting to clear the wave safely.
I think it's more the second one. I think he wanted to be able to clear the wave safely and quickly, allow himself to pick up this purple buff in the jungle, and then go right back to lane and look to sort of even up that discrepancy between the 2 hunters as far as lane power was concerned. That move, I think, allows him to regain a little bit of that.
Forcing out the beats onto Anister, but the silence from Jigs was going to stop any sort of follow-up from Sinashore. Slight miscommunication there by both Anister and Jigs, but really, it's better to be safe than sorry. If you're going to, like, sometimes you're playing with a Geb, you're going to accidentally beats and not trust your teammates, but this is not a Geb. This is a Ganesh that's going to potentially silence someone from following up.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up the Geb nonsense and that, like, yeah, it happens even to this day. But, you know, Geb was out for a year plus before we started seeing players really rely on that one. Snoopy, again, just brought down to half HP. Zapman hitting it strong.
No ultimate from Snoopy, so Zapman abusing that fact. Though vision is clearly there for Trifecta because Space Station has that Thor global presence, really respecting the fact that Homie FA can be at any lane at a drop of a dime.
But he hasn't been so far. He has 1 kill. It's been a very quiet game. Space Station about even with Trifecta. Usually, I mean, Homie on the Thor, we see him look to set the pace of the game. Not doing that today.
He's just waiting, honestly. He's allowing Zapman to be that continuous bully, zoning out Aurora and Herwin on the left. Even, interestingly enough, those Dharmic Pillars being dropped by Jigs just to do what exactly? Secure those oracles?
Secure the oracle, sure. I think they thought Sinashore was a little bit more trapped than he actually was. The wall from Thorn not extending all the way into the wall. I think that was the play, was to block Sinashore off and then collapse around him on the right side. But as soon as they saw that he was able to just sort of walk out, they abandoned ship and went to a different plan. Sinashore, double tap. Here comes Andy, and Thor's in the sky. Misses it. Instead, Homie FA looking for Herwin, blocking the portal. Hurry gets through anyway. And Aurora is the one that takes care of Homie FA on the backside.
Here comes the soul laners. Kiki silencing out Jigs. Not enough damage to find the kill on that one. Even Sprint being procced just to escape because Zapman is here. He's trying to make his presence felt. Going to force Trifecta back under their own tier 1 tower. Snoopy can't make that rotation because he's still behind in a little bit of the farm, and he had that red buff that he needed to secure.
So far, Trifecta are able to get themselves on the board. Very important kill coming from Aurora, but 2 dropped kills from Space Station Gaming. Homie FA just... So, it looked like Homie FA changed his mind. He was chasing 1 kill and then went for Herwin.
So at first, it was Homie getting a grass stomp, but then he did a quick 180 snap wall hammer connecting onto Cynosure, right? But he didn't teleport to the hammer after forcing out the beads from Cynosure.
Right.
If he teleports there, uses Berserker Barrage, Cynosure might actually be dead, or maybe might be forced to use that ultimate earlier on, whether it's offensively or defensively, allowing Homie FA to cut the distance with this ultimate then.
And even still, Homie decides, okay, I got him low, time to go into the sky, and there's two members that are relatively low. It's Homie FA and Whirlwind, and so he decides not to go onto the tower to chase Homie FA and land instead looking at Whirlwind, and he's unable to confirm the kill because Whirlwind gets out via portal.
I'm not sure if he was even in position to keep going because the timing of it was a little bit perfect for Cynosure to escape during that Thor ultimate, not able to cut the distance.
Snoopy playing defensively again. Got to get away from Zapman, who's been all aggro all game from minute 1 right away, just looking for those back harpies. So sticking to his game plan, Zapman. Although coming up empty-handed, no kills so far for the New York Hunter.
I think he's had enough, honestly, after that last game. Scary V, though, making a play, blinking onto Kiki, surprisingly. When's the last time you saw Vamana blink in the solo lane?
It's been quite some time. You know, for what Scary D, just ult for ult.
This is the mind games. I think Kiki, what he wanted to do was prevent the lane clear, also forcing out the ultimate trade. Scary D, though, not winning this trade right now because the sustain from Chalk is not as long of a cooldown as opposed to the Vamana sustain.
And so, you know, you're talking about mind games. Is that really it? Just canceling out the sustain from
Pretty
Vamana?
much. Trading out ultimates is all Kiki was really looking for there. There wasn't much kill potential there. Tier 2 breastplate from Scary D versus Tier 3 from Kiki, also giving him that 20% cooldown reduction. So the next time that Kiki's ultimate is up, he knows that the Vamana ult won't be up for like at least another 15 seconds or so.
So he'll be able to keep that one sort of in the front of his mind. Cynosure grabs the sash, and the enemy's able to get out of there by way of ultimate, so that man's safe one more time.
Left-hand side, still not able to really find a kill there on either Hunter. Still just a passive farming game as we're approaching the 14-minute mark. Still very even with only a 500 goal lead for TFECT, despite Space Station being the ones with the first blood.
Yeah, these teams, again, still very late on the invades. Nobody going for an invade here either, just clean red buff for TFECT.
It's just going to take one team fight to blow the doors wide open. And thus far, the way Kiki's been playing the solo lane, bullying out Scary D despite having a 1-level deficit, that could be the one play that TFECT could lean on, is Kiki clearing this wave and then out-rotating Scary D, maybe at the Gold Fury even.
Again, nobody on our side of the jungle. TFECT able to clean up their objectives relatively cleanly.
Oh, there's a play.
Left side, everybody looking towards the players on the Gold Fury, and the ultimate's enough to chase Space Station off of the gold.
Well, that was a play. Trying to scare them and bamboozle Space Station.
That's the brick throw. That's the brick throw. Throw the brick through the window, you see how long it takes the cops to get there. And then you take a note.
How many bricks do you have?
Space Station Gaming, able to take notes after that one, and they say, all right, they've got vision. They understand what we're doing. It'll take them, they have a Yawn Assault, 3 seconds to get here. Until we can kill the Gold Fury in 3 seconds or less, we don't pull it.
Scary.
Unless we want the fight.
It's not a bad idea, actually, for both of these two teams to kind of keep each other in check here. With TFECT finding this one win, they now control their own destiny. If they win this one, they're guaranteed to have that higher seeding over Space Station.
Important, because that's who gets the battle, LG or E United. It's tough stuff, right?
I wanted to take that trade, honestly. Who do you want to fight, honestly? Like, take your pick of the litter.
You want to fight a lion or a tiger?
Yeah, which one, right? Neither, please.
Yeah, for real, you know. It's not something I really want to be involved in. But, lucky for me, I'm going to Super Regionals no matter what. Got him.
I'm too busy giggling. I'll be there too, don't worry.
You going there as well?
Yeah, I think I'll be there. I think I can fit that in my schedule.
You going to Hi-Rez Expo?
Yeah, I'm going to the website so I can use that code.
That's what Super Regionals is all about. These teams trying to play their best during the regular season, get there hopefully afterwards.
What's the code again?
HiResExpo.com.
That's a website. There's a code.
You'll have to ask Taco around on the desk.
Ah, you're right, you're right.
right now, here again, looking for the Gold Fury. Space Station wanted this fight, though. They pull it, and they leash it, and they pull it, and they leash it, but they don't see Snoopy coming around the back end.
Heroin.
And a help from the sky. Homie FA is going to miss. The hammer hits on the back. It's all dead Heroin. Sinashore in some trouble. Beautiful wall coming out from Homie FA. Trying to peel his Kiki, but he just can't catch up. Now Scary D too deep by himself.
Sinashore going to sustain a little bit from his second ability. Still has the ultimate to bring somebody in the sky. Heroin didn't have that ultimate as he used it offensively, trying to cut the angles onto Space Station, but taking too much damage in return. Finally, Space Station going to leash the Gold Fury yet again, but Sinashore getting bullied out by Scary D.
Snoopy's on the chase as well, though, so not a big deal. Aurora, however, could be in trouble. Kiki so dead. Oh my FA, out of control.
Scary D in the back line, a little bit too deep himself. He's going to sacrifice his life while the rest of his team confirms the first Gold Fury of the game.
Just Space Station Gaming.
He actually finds Sinashore.
Scary D gets a kill? That's so obnoxious.
So
he's 2v1ing and he's able to take out Sinashore.
3-on-1 actually, as we saw Heroin making the respawn happen.
That's a kill that can't happen. Sinashore needs to watch that tape, and whatever he did wrong, make sure it doesn't happen again.
You're just a melee assassin. There's no reason for you to be face-to-face against a Vamana. Yeah,
walk away.
Let your hunter, let your mid laner do the dirty work. If you're
He's
too
at
low,
your Phoenix. He's at your Phoenix.
Without a dash.
Without a tower
ultimate,
taken out. Just walk away.
He didn't have a brick. That was his problem.
You know, you're making fun of me here, but I want to go back to that. I love what Space Station did. So the last time, right, they pull the Gold Fury and it's just a test. They just a test. We want to see how TFECT is going to respond. They respond in 2 or 3 seconds, most importantly with the Giannis ultimate. Space Station goes back to the Gold Fury when they know the Giannis ult is up. Not because they don't want the Gold Fury, they want the ensuing team fight. So they pull the Gold Fury and TFECT didn't realize it. So they leashed it and did it again. And then they get the Giannis ult, and they're like, thank God you guys finally got here, and they punched him in the mouth. That's exactly what Space Station were looking for.
Totally different team compared to the first time around. Space Station able to really flip that first game, not let it hinder their performance here in the second one. They made it a slow and steady pace game. They didn't have too much action, either of these two teams, in the second game. They really wanted to figure out the true way to approach it. And thus far, Space Station, by all these baiting plays, all these brick throwing that you were talking about, they've been able to slowly separate the gap.
And you know, that's something Space Station Gaming, no matter what their record is, I don't care how poorly these guys do in the regular season, although they had a totally fine regular season, just not in comparison to everybody else. Homie FA, Anderson, Jigs, Zapman, these guys have quarterback memories. These guys are veterans, have been playing a long time. How well they're going to perform versus how much they're going to let poor performances weigh on them. I will never expect Space Station to tilt from game to game, as we say.
Yeah, I definitely don't expect that either. Space Station still not done with the pressure there. They're playing up in the mid, playing up in the left dual lane as well. Zapman still applying this rotation efforts, trying to maybe collapse on the mid lane, looks like, or he's waiting for that rotation from Snoopy, trying to cut him off. Those are the two options thus far, with Gold Fury still being down for Space Station. Try and think of the possible next objective.
Where do you think that'll be?
It's either the tier 1 in the mid or tier 1 on the left. And thus far, because Snoopy backed on the left, this could be a tower for Zapman if he commits to it.
Yeah, he's got to wait for the minions. And he will be caught out on a ward a little bit, but I think he's more interested in the red buff. But as soon as he sees Snoopy show up...
I think he dropped the ward on the red buff as well, potentially. It is covered by the mini-map right now, so we can't really tell it. But there's so many people around there from TFECT that Zapman wants no part of it. He's more content about securing the oracles, while Snoopy's going to lose some of that gold under his own tier 1 tower.
Portal Demon is going to go ahead and one more time bring up the Giannis ultimate. Here comes Aurora. Scary D taking a lot of damage, but Aurora, tanky as ever, not taking any.
That's a huge ultimate being baited yet again. Zapman is forced to use that beads. The portal is down. Zapman wants to chase Heroin out for the moment. Going to force out a defensive threshold. Just like that, the focal point from Space Station is on TFECT's mid laner. They banned away that Aphrodite in the secondary stages, forcing the Giannis, and Space Station have answered to this god.
I love that small little portal slip getting away from Zapman. just fun to watch. Herwin very slippery. Now going offensive. Homie F gonna land, and well, he's going to be in trouble as soon as he does. Zapman takes care of the jungler, however. It's a 1-for-none. Space Station on the good side. Homie FA's up. Homie FA's down. Snoopy's able to hit the Aegis in time. Zapman and Homie are in trouble. One goes down, and the next is followed up. Homie FA dies to the hand of Snoopy.
Sinosure sacrificing his life for the greater good. Homie FA and Zapman taking a spill. Not done yet, though. The chase is on. Jigs is going to force out here as well. Herwin gets knocked up. Scaredy's not done, but the portal saving the life of Herwin.
Just getting out of there one more time, Giannis. He can walk through walls.
Just Giannis things. Hashtag.
Walking through walls. Herwin looking clean. Level 16, 0-1 and 4. The man on the scene. You know what I mean?
I can see.
Come on, man. No. No.
No?
No. Anything. Like,
you kill it too hard.
you look like Mr. Bean.
I'm Mr. Bean.
How about that?
I thought you were going to say Mr. Clean. But
No.
with my hair, there's no
crap.
such thing.
That's crap.
That's correct.
There's no such thing. Say it with an accent. You are.
I guess I'm from Marine.
You're just streets behind, Tully. Don't worry about it. I love when Tully just gives you this grin. It's just like, well, what do we do now? It's a lot of fun.
You're piloting the ship here, F. Dot. I'm trusting you here.
Well, we have a lot of fun here. Scary D. See, Kiki is so cheeky. Just arguing over the blue buff. That's really what the solo lane comes down to. It's just a long argument. This is my lane. No, it's my lane, and let me show you why. Axe throw.
Pretty
no,
much.
it's mine. Here's my umbrella to show you why.
There's just so many things to worry about in the solo lane, like between the minions, between the blue buff, between also the elementals here. And then you're also worried about trying to outpush your opposition to deny them some gold under the tower. So much action, though, in the mid lane.
Jigs is just sort of watching these players do the gold fear. Like, I'm going to call my homies. You got to calm down. Gold fear gets down to 25% HP before they bail. Aurora dealing with Scary D. Everybody else dealing with Homie FA up top. Ultimate from Herwin. Going to miss Homie FA. Not a big deal there. Herwin finds safety on the left side of the jungle. Still portals out there and relevant, but it's all about the mid lane team fight. The Space Station going to go ahead and hit the retreat button. Easy peasy.
Both teams taking a little bit more than they wanted. Aurora's going to use that cripple field, trying to escape, but it's Sinosure stunning out Zapman, but it put himself in a really awkward position. He took more damage than he dished out.
Zapman with the over-the-wall knock-up. Going to put Herwin in a bad spot. Has to back here, no problem. And it looks like Space Station might have caught it, because they're going to pull the Gold Fury one more time, 5-on-4. And again, something tells me, Tully, this is more about the fight than the actual objective.
It could very well be that's the case, because Herwin is here back from the base, but he's without an ultimate. He's without his beads.
Oh, Herwin. There's the drums of war. And Scary D gets the kill on the Herwin. Here's Snoopy in trouble in his own sons, trying to deal with Homie FA on the back end, but the spin to win puts Snoopy back in the ground and the doghouse as well. Sinosure in trouble, and Scary D finds 2 in that exchange. Homie FA just going to get walked down. The save from Jigs was almost good enough.
Almost.
But Kiki, so cheeky.
He's just too cheeky. 3-for-1 at the end of the day yet again. This time it's Homie FA sacrificing his life. Zapman doing a lot of damage as well as Anister. Aurora will die. It's a deicide. Space Station is going to clean up this Tier 1 tower.
It was messy. It was a messy team fight. Homie FA with a great flank from Thor.
Is this a fire
in the
giant?
sky, landed on the backside. Of course this is a fire giant. This is Zapman Jigs team. What would you expect?
I expected a Tier 2 into a Gold Fury call, but just no hesitation. Going for Fire Giant, the way Space Station have been... Off camera, Jigs falling to that through space and time from Herwin. That's why you banned the Giannis.
That's why you banned the Giannis, sure. But, I mean, realistic, beautiful play by Andy. Uses the Mez to keep him in his tracks and interrupt the cast of the portal. Down goes Herwin. That's the play that, I mean... That's the scenario. Homie FA unfortunately doesn't get Fire Giant. He's dead at the time. Jigs dies right there, and there is literally nothing you can do about it but laugh.
I don't know what Sinish's going to do here. He's actually going to go back in as we see a roar right around the corner. The ultimate is available for Scary D. If he elects to use it, he could still look to be that nuisance Vamana soul laner that a lot of players like to be. Disrupting the flow of Sinishore, now, even if he is only level 16 right now, is still good enough for him to commit to that play while the rest of his team secures the Gold Fury.
So sort of what I was saying before is, players might sort of talk about, well, you got to be aware of the Giannis, but dying to the cross-map Giannis ult, Jigs, like, sorry, bud.
Yeah.
Nobody on his team is mad. That's just...
happens.
One of those Giannis things, and...
hashtag just Giannis things.
At the end of the day, Toli, your support with the Fire Giant buff...
it's not the end of the world if he dies there.
It'd be nice to have him have some extra MP or HP 5, but you're really looking at your carries to do the dirty work on the structures with the Fire Giant.
Jigs does, amplify a lot of his teammates' damage, though, as well, by dropping that ball on the battlefield. I think it's like along 10% of damage amplification with all 5 players being there, and that's a big deal considering there's a few level 20s on the board with Fire Giant.
Portal Demon also taken by Space Station Gaming, so after the last big swing for SSG, 27 on the clock, and we've got 17 kills, Space Station with 11 of them, and SSG leading by almost 10,000, shy about 4K. So a nice 6,000 gold lead here, give or take.
Not the same pacing compared to the way TFECT had a lead from the last game, but it's still a very commanding lead from Space Station, especially with his Fire Giant buff. They're in the tier 2 tower with Homie FA zoning underneath. Heroin got poked out a little bit. Kiki needs to be very mindful about his positioning as well as the rest of Space Station start flooding into the right.
2 for 3 spread, and Space Station take out their tier 2 tower in the mid lane. And now shifting back over to the right side, vision control by SSG on the offensive little cusp there behind the tower. Very important because junglers are going to look to wrap around. Keep an eye in that jungle. You can see Homie FA coming through that portion right now.
Trying to get the tier 2 tower through space and time being used. Doesn't clip anybody. Yet again, the poke onto Heroin. The tower's about to go down, but everyone from TFECT needs to disengage. Heroin is low. Kiki's rather at 75% health. Aurora can stay around for as long as he would like, but yet again, slowly, Space Station chipping away at TFECT's foundation.
There's a really neat play that Homie FA makes right there, blocking out the portal. Now, Sinosure is able to get out kind of no problem, but theoretically, you put the wall in the portal and Sino sort of gets stuck and you can kind of just gank him there no problem, but Homie FA wasn't able to really get back there and deal the damage. I like the thought process.
I think that if that if Space Station had Scary D's ultimate not used to avoid the stun from Snoopy before the tier 2 tower siege, that they would continue the action maybe even on the right-hand side, but without that sustain, at that point, they're going to wait it out for a little bit by getting another 1,500 gold on the left, and if we take a quick look at gold in hand, we'll see that Space Station really want to back here 2,000 plus on the side of Homie FA.
Yeah, it's really going to boost him up. He's going to finish up that Titan's Bane, which should be a big look, and big money items here for a number of players. Not just the Titan's Bane, but also, and perhaps more importantly, the Obsidian Shard as well for the Raijin. Very early on, he buys out the Spear of the Magus, which is not only going to help his damage, but also Jigs' is very relevant damage. And then later on, just flat 33% penetration coming out from the Ob Shard. Usually these items are at odds.
True, but the way that Raijin works is you get the chain lightning effect from dropping the Raiju into your first ability, and that damage alone is going to proc so many stacks of that Spear of the Magus, and that 50 flat pen versus 33% magical penetration, there's a certain threshold where the flat pen will, well, that 50 flat pen will outweigh the 33%. Exactly. And you're eventually going to get to that 33% pen anyway, so you're better off getting Spear of the Magus in the early game if your god allows it.
Small side note, Obsidian Shard, just like the Titan's Bane, is going to help you against structures as well, so certainly something to start thinking about with respects to that. Well, all towers are down, but the Phoenixes are still alive. The Fire Giant is as well.
TFECT now not wanting to overextend or push their boundaries. They don't have the vision required to really get in there, because Space Station can set up traps on so many different angles around that right side of the map, and the trap doesn't have to be that long of a trap. If you're out of position for 2 seconds, that's all Space Station needs to blow anybody up if they're all grouped up as 5.
We've seen it. We've seen Space Station just suck the opposition into a vacuum and just absolutely destroy them with this burst damage. So TFECT have to be careful here. Nice ring toss by Sinoshore. One of the nice things about that also shows you who's lurking in the jungle.
Snoopy gonna get aggressed on by Scary D. Scary D just making sure that the hunter from TFECT is distracted there on the right side, simply because the Suns controls a lot of space. It'll clear the minions, it'll slow everyone down from Space Station, and that's not something that Space Station wants to deal with here, so they're gonna start to siege their first Phoenix of the game.
Well, Kiki slows everybody down and chunk from a little bit from the jungler, a little bit from somebody else, brings that man down relatively low. Shock Axe avoided that time. Jig still trying to find the entry point. Tosses the ultimate in, and
Dharmic Pillars even used.
Aurora's just locked in the zoo. You all right there, Tully?
I'm fine.
Space Station backing up one more time.
He's not a bear yet.
He was a bear. Just like Uzi. Backing up a little bit, looking for number 1. And it's a right side engagement. Surprised even me. Scary D comes out of nowhere, knocks a couple of players up. SSG want to engage here, but they just can't find the door. A roar back to the base. A little bit nicely, though. Space Station still trepidatious about this push. They took out the support. He's walking back to the fountain.
They baited out the Giannis ultimate. That's going to stop the displacement and the repositioning from TFECT as they try to defend this tier or this Phoenix in the mid lane. They're really in an awkward position here because they can't leave their base to farm, so they're starved out, basically.
Beautiful defense by TFECT. Realistically here, that just looked like Space Station not jumping in. Scary D had a fantastic initiation.
Jigs' ultimate just came off of cooldown. That was the big point also. I like Scary D's initiation by blinking and knocking everyone up as Vamana, because that's so unique. No one does that, but now with Dharmic Pillars and the big baby, here comes Space Station.
Kiki still trying to push up. Zapman not able to come in thanks to the stuns out of Snoopy. Now that they're done, Sinoshore just gets smoked out by Andy pre-ultimate. Andy just firing through the wall. Ton of damage. And with Bad Luck 13 on the board, Scary D, the guy that's doing it. Kiki is low. Kiki's in trouble. Andy blinks forward. That's the end of him. 2 players left to play defense. This one looks like it's going to Space Station.
2, 3 dead members through space and time. Zatman uses his Aegis. That was certainly going to be a death for Whirlwind, or rather from Whirlwind onto Zatman. And with all 5 members with Fire Giant from Space Station, they're going to find the split here more than likely and secure themselves that 3rd seed.
Space Station got to get the kills first. Snoopy goes down. Whirlwind still being aggressed on by Scary D. The Titan is barely alive, as I said. I think they wanted the kills, but they get the game. Split down the